Very nice.
Something
you can talk
like that.
like him.
Yeah.
I just do.
Kurama.
Nice. Hi, मैं हूँ Ben. It's hero time.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Ani-Lyst podcast, YouTube's number one Indian anime podcast. Today we have someone special, like each and every episode, but आज ये next level पे है. We have someone that you guys have not actually seen, but 100% heard, and he has been influencing your childhood with his skills of voice acting. Today we have Mr. Sanket Mhatre, sir.
Hi. Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Nice to have you on the podcast.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
How are you? How are things?
I've been really good. Yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this podcast. I'm always happy to meet creators who are working towards anime awareness in India. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है जब creators अपनी तरफ से लोगों को खबरें पहुंचाते हैं anime से related. They give you updates about what's happening in the country in regards to anime. They talk to a lot of prominent people who are working towards bringing a lot more anime culture to India, and so I'm really honored to be a part of your podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So you have voiced for Ben 10, for Bear Grylls, for badass characters like Deadpool, Lord Sri Ram, Allu Arjun. Like these are all the voices that we have heard. But who is Sanket Mhatre behind the voice?
Sanket Mhatre behind the voice is a big fanboy of all these characters that he's voiced for. I've always been. I love comic books. I love cartoons. I moved to anime. Unfortunately, watched Akira way too early in my life, and then nothing matched for a long time. But I mean, yeah, honestly speaking, he's just a fanboy who's gotten the opportunity to voice these characters that he's loved all his life. And so when I stand on a microphone trying to voice a Batman, I'm just fulfilling a lifelong dream, and I'm totally. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be able to voice for these characters, and I take it as a huge responsibility because I always think about it in terms of how I would want a certain character to sound in Hindi when I'm listening to it, and I try to approach that in the way that I voice for it, because I want it to be as badass in Hindi, and I want it to sound as cool in Hindi when somebody's listening to it. It should not take away from that that effect or that magic that it has in maybe the Japanese or the English language that you're watching it in originally. And so he's just a fanboy who's voicing now for a living.
Nice. So when you dub for characters like Batman, who carry a legacy behind them,
right?
So how, do you feel that pressure on you?
So when I'm voicing per se, I try not to take that pressure. I have a very simple philosophy when I'm voicing. I try to keep all the how big the character is in the outside world, or what actor might be voicing for this, voice actor or a real actor voicing for this character, or who's played this, what hero has played this. I keep all of that outside the studio when I'm voicing. I take that pressure when I come out of it. When I'm in the studio, I only try to approach it as the character. I try to hear what the original voice actor has done, and then try to see how well I can kind of replicate it in Hindi or whatever language that we are dubbing for it. So for example, like a Kevin Conroy, who is an absolute master and legend at what he does. So you cannot hope to surpass or even match these legends. What you can hope to do is learn how they've done it and probably try to replicate it with as much love as they did it for the character. The amount of love that he had for Batman, and the depth in which he would go to figure out why he would say a sentence a particular way. I mean, you could watch that, you could learn from that, and then try to do it the best you can. And that's what I try. I mean, I come out then and then get nervous as people do about how people will appreciate this or not like it or criticize it or whatever it is. But when I'm in the studio, I try not to do that, because then it tends to affect your performance, and that's not something I'm okay with. So yeah.
Angel, so whenever you voice a character like Batman,
right?
From what I know, कि बैटमैन की आवाज में एक पेन है, एक दर्द है, एक सॉरो है, एक रिवेंज का फीलिंग है.
Correct.
So once you are in the studio and once you are doing that, is that after behind the scenes, are you still in that element, like
Does it change your personality when you're voicing the character?
Not really. I often tell people that I leave my personality at the door when I'm voicing. That Sanket stays there, the artist goes in, the artist performs, and then when the artist walks out, he meets his personality again. You can't, I mean, you can always, it's easy to say that. I mean, it's always, you will always carry a part of you in your performance, and I think that's what makes your performance unique. But you cannot let it affect you both ways. You know, you cannot let your personality shadow the character. You cannot let the character shadow your personality. That should not happen. I think you carry elements of your personality in the character, and that's what makes it unique. I think that's what works with something like a Deadpool in Hindi, because I try a lot of lines that I would say or which I would find funny, and then they we try it out in the studio. The engineer likes it or the director likes it.